Relatives of those who died in the Grenfell Tower blaze have described their heartbreak during the first day of the inquiry into the catastrophe. Chaired by Sir Martin Moore-Bick, the inquiry will hear from relatives or friends of every one of those killed as a result of the fire, with their words entered in as evidence. As he opened the hearing, Mr Moore-Bick reminded those gathered that the tributes were an integral part of the inquiry and would serve as a reminder of why it is being conducted. The youngest victim of the fire was Logan Gomes, who was stillborn after his mother Andreia escaped the block. His father Marcio spoke of how his family had begun preparations for his arrival and of the happiness knowing he was coming brought them. Describing the moment he held his stillborn son, Mr. Gomes told the inquiry, "He looked just like he was sleeping. In the moment we felt our hearts break.But we were able to be with him." Hugging his wife while crying, Mr. Gomes credited her strength and courage for bringing them through the last 11 months. Lifelong Chelsea fan Denis Murphy died in the fire when he was trapped in his flat on the 14th floor. Leading tributes on behalf of Mr. Murphy's son, brothers and ex-wife, his sister Anne-Marie said his death had left a gaping hole that can never be filled. Ms. Murphy said, "There is no reason why anyone in the world should have death forced upon them in such a horrific way. His warmth and love will stay with us forever." She added they have just 3 possessions of his recovered from the fire, including a handful of coins from his flat. She said the coins were so poignant to us, as he would have given you his last pennies if he could. The inquest also heard from the family of Mohamed Amied Neda, who died trying to save other people from the top floor of the tower, where he lived with his family. In a statement delivered through the family's solicitors, Mr. Neda's brother described him as his best friend and said the disaster made him feel like my whole world came crashing down. Mohamed Aref Neda said, "I have faced many blows in life, losing many family members, but this was the worst." He added, "The only thing I know is that my brother was a hero.He gave up his life for his family and for others. He sacrificed himself in that fire in order to put others first. That's just the brave and selfless person that he was. That's a memory of him that I will hold in my heart for as long as I live." Mr. Neda and his wife Flora sought refuge in London in the early 1990s after escaping Kabul. They had been targeted by the Taliban as Mr. Neda had been a high-ranking officer in Afghanistan's army. In a tribute read by a solicitor, his wife recalled how it had been love at first sight for the couple, but they had to wait 2 years for her father to approve their relationship. Their son Farhad is now engaged, and he and his mother expressed regret that Mohamed would not be there on his wedding day. Mrs. Neda said, "It is just so sad that my beloved husband will not be there at his wedding and will not be there to hold his grandchildren or to share the joy of becoming a grandparent. The chance to enjoy such special moments as a family has been taken away from Saber, and there is a heavy sense of loss in our hearts which will never go away. He had always been there for us. He never complained. He was my husband and my best friend, and I miss his so much. He will always be the love of my life." Later, the son of Joseph Daniels, who died in the fire aged 69, gave a brief statement saying his father stood no chance of getting out, and this should never have happened. The final 2 remembered as the inquiry opened were Mary Mendy and her daughter Khadija Say. Ms. Mendy's sister Betty said having Khadija in 1992 would turn out to be the greatest and proudest day of her life. Ms. Mendy's niece described her as her hero and said she was no longer on the other end of the phone to listen to my complaints and my gossip. She said, "There will be 2 empty chairs for birthdays and Christmas now, but they will forever hold a place in our hearts." Ms. Say was an artist whose work had been exhibited in Venice as part of a collection on diaspora. She had also been filmed with a group of artists for the BBC. After her death, a shorter version of the program was released to remember her. In the clips, she discusses winning a scholarship to rugby school and the culture shock of moving there from Ladbroke Grove, West London. In her own words, Ms. Say said, "I am more aware of the power the camera holds. I can look back at photos and see how my area has changed in the last 10 years. I thought I should be doing photography on the side, but my teachers were very supportive and I am grateful because without them, I wouldn't be here."